All right, guys, a little bit late on this video. It is the 11th now as I'm recording this, but I wanted to touch on some things that you can sell here in July on Facebook Marketplace. It doesn't matter if you're obviously drop shipping them, like I usually talk about, or if you go out ahead of time and source them and then resell them. All of these things have been selling well for me the past month, okay? So the past, well, really, I guess like 40 days. So like the past month and the past like 10, 11 days, these things have been selling fairly well. I didn't, go out and plan this video. All I literally did was go down my shipping orders and then kind of pick off ones that I constantly, saw over and over again, right? So I'm gonna give you 15 things here that you can start listing on Facebook Marketplace. This will hopefully jumpstart your sales if you're a beginner that needs sales, right? And you're not selling very much, or if you're already an intermediate and advanced, add these to your store too. Chances are you'll get some sales on them. Now, a few things here. One of the things that I don't do here in these videos is, while I think that they help you and they benefit you, obviously, and it's fun for me to talk about, kind of like a recap of what was selling well for me the past month so that you can obviously list this month, I don't give a link out to the specific supplier and the specific one that I'm using, right? Because that's not going to do anybody any good, right? First and foremost, it's going to saturate the market for that product, so I will stop getting sales, which obviously I don't want. Secondly, if everybody goes ahead and lists from that same exact link or that same exact supplier, again, it's just going to saturate the market, it's going to saturate that product, and it will cease to be a good product. So what I recommend that you do here is you take these ideas in, these products in, go find multiple suppliers, okay? Multiple suppliers. Don't just pick Amazon, don't just pick Walmart. Go find multiple suppliers and list multiple variations from those multiple suppliers, right? So for example, let's say this is a random example and it's not true, but let's say hypothetically I said like backup mouses, I don't know why it's a backup mouse, but a wireless mouse for a computer, right? What I recommend is find a couple good ones from Amazon, find a couple good ones from Walmart, Google, wireless mouse, find a good supplier that nobody else is really using, right? Maybe you go to Home Depot and use that one. Maybe you go to all the ones that are listed on Z-Drop, you see if any of those suppliers also have wireless mouses, right? So that's what I recommend, okay? Don't just pick one supplier. Don't just go, if I say wireless mouses, don't go, find a wireless mouse that is on Amazon, list it, and when it doesn't sell, think that it doesn't work, right? You have to try multiple variations of these things. This is just ideas. They have been selling well for me. Just take it and run with it, right? Don't just take it at face value, think that you can list one, random one, and that it's gonna sell, okay? So just kind of wanted to touch on that. Hope that this helps. If you appreciate any of the value in this video, give it a thumbs up. I genuinely appreciate it, okay? So the first one is pitching home radar detectors, and these have, really recently started selling for me pretty well the past 2 weeks or so. I don't know why they've picked up in sales. I don't know if there's a correlation with a lot of people going out and playing baseball now, or t-ball and stuff like that. One of the things that I did learn, and it's basically all baseball stuff right now and all t-ball and all softball, but one of the things I did learn that potentially could be attributed to why pitching home radar detectors, so little ones that you can literally stick behind you, or ones that the gun where you can shoot it and you can shoot the kid, how much, shoot the kid sounds bad, that's, YouTube's gonna pick up on that and think this video is on something terrible. Shoot the radar gun so you can get the speed of the pitch. One of the things that I did gather from talking to one of the customers that purchased one of these was his son, I guess, is going to a regional tournament and then hopefully to the Little League World Series. So maybe because there's a lot of these, it's getting to that point where you're approaching these regional tournaments, locally and stuff like that, and then into Little League World Series. Maybe a lot of more baseball stuff is being purchased now for, in anticipation of these tournaments so that their kids can get new stuff. I don't really know if that's true. It's just kind of a guess, but I would list them. Don't just stop at pitching radar detectors and home ones, like mini versions. So not $500 ones. We're talking 50 to 150 maybe. I think the one that I listed is 150, but the one that I listed does sell, for that 150. I think it's 140 something, and it only cost me $70 to source it, right? So that's pretty much 100% profit margin and a great margin when I sell it, okay? So like I said with this before I even listed them or said that, don't just go find one, list a couple of them. It doesn't take you that long to list, especially if you're using a software like Z-Drop, okay? Now that one took a little bit longer than I anticipated, so I'm just gonna kind of go through these fast, and I'll give you kind of insights about what I think about them, why they might be selling if those pop into my mind. The next one is something that I've talked about from the get-go, okay? Every single month, these sell for me over and over and over again, and they sell for high margins and, you know, great profit, okay? So that's power tools. I've been saying this every single video. I'm gonna keep hitting it home. I'm not doing anything special. I'm not looking for like these other random obscure things that like I can, you know, bring to the table for a new video like that I haven't said before. If they're in there, great, and there's definitely a bunch of them in here. But if I'm looking down my orders and I see like power tool, power tool, power tool, power tool, I'm gonna say power tools again. So they've been selling really well for me again in the month of June. Obviously, I anticipate them selling well in the month of July. Again, they've been selling well for me the 2 months before June. So list power tools. Not only do they sell well, they sell for high profits, okay? And you can mark them up. It doesn't seem like, you know, and like everything related to power tools, right? Like carry bags for power tools, stuff like that. It all sells well, right? And you can mark them up pretty decently if you can find a good supplier and you can get one relatively cheap, right? Because like it's hard to, some power tools are like 50 bucks and some power tools are like 200 bucks. So it's like a perception thing. So it's really hard to kind of gauge. It's kind of like furniture, right? Or like patio furniture. It's one of those things where like you can get a cheap version or you can get one that's like 100 bucks or you can get one that's like, you know, very expensive, and it's really up to perception and the quality of the product that is what, you know, kind of dictates the price there, okay? So great opportunity there. The next thing is backup batteries for power tools. So those have been selling really, really well for me. I did the first thing that I tried with that was like I just listed random ones and that worked. But recently I've been listing like bundles, right? So like I'll do like a 2-pack of this with something else that's a power tool, right? So like I'll combine it and make my own. I'll be like, hey, this power tool with like 2 extra backup batteries, and I'll list that as a set. That's been working very, very well for me, so try that. So that's a good lesson, not just for obviously power tools and batteries, but like create your own listings, because then there's nobody else that's competing with you, because it's gonna be very hard for them to grab your listing and then figure out exactly where you sourced both of those things from. While you can do that and build your own listings, it's really like it's competing in an unsaturated market, and you can build your own listings, increase your profit margins because of the convenience of like buying multiple things within the same thing, and it works very, very well, okay? So try that, build your own listings and create your own variations of things by combining products, maybe even from multiple suppliers, okay? Do that, it works very, very well. Next thing is weekend bags. These have just started picking up for me like the past week or two again. Maybe because people are getting out now, they're traveling, they're going down the shore for the week or for the weekend. These smaller typical bags, not like a suitcase size bag, but just like one that you can like throw a couple changes of clothes in for a couple nights, seem to be selling very well. List those, and again, those are something that you can get good margins on because it's another perception thing, right? Like a high quality bag could be like 300 or 400 bucks, but the same pretty much bag without that brand name on it can be like 30. So it's really, really something that you can mark up decently and make a good margin on. The next thing is funny signs. These have been selling well for me for the past month or two, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like any funny sign, right? So you can go to Google, type in like funny signs, or you can go find like funny home decor signs on one of the main suppliers. A lot of those sell well, and one of the benefits of it is like it seems like a type of gift where like I know this from like when I used to advertise on Facebook. People buy on Facebook a lot of times, like when they're scrolling through their feeds. It's got to kind of be like a gotcha product, right? Where they get excited about it and they think it's funny and they want to buy it as like a statement piece or something like that, right? And so these funny signs, when they're scrolling or they're looking through Marketplace or whatever, they might not necessarily be searching for something like this, but Facebook will suggest it to them because Facebook knows pretty much everything about us, obviously. And so if you can hit like a gamer, for example, with a funny gamer sign, right? Or like a conservative with like a funny conservative sign, or like a liberal with a funny liberal sign, right? Or whatever, like a Yankees fan with a funny Yankees sign, right? Any of those things really, really kind of stop customers in their tracks, and they buy them, and they seem to buy them well. And again, it's something that you can mark up with like 100% margin. If it costs you like $7 to get it, mark it up to 15 to 20, right? Because it doesn't change much from like the $7 margin or the $7 price point to like the $20 price point. It's still kind of like a gut shot thing that is worth that money, and people are willing to pay for it, I've seen, okay? And this isn't just one thing. I've listed a million different signs, and a lot of them have picked up. People tend to buy them, okay? And then they resell, or they keep reselling from that listing, and it's great. And you just have one listing to manage rather than like a bunch of them, right? So funny signs, great profit margin there. You can mark them up. Literally take it and run with it. You can even do, like I said before, and combine a couple funny signs. That would work very well for you too, right? For somebody that's like trying to decorate their patio or just moved and is decorating their house or something like that, okay? The next one's funny to me, and I sold, this one, I kind of wanted to include it just because I thought it was funny, but they've sold, I think, 2 or 3 in the past week randomly. And I mean, clearly it's not random. I don't know if like this is like chicken season or whatever, or like rooster season, but chicken coops have been selling for me. Haven't been selling well for me in the month of June, but I wanted to include them in the July one because I thought it was funny, and they picked up like recently the past week. And so not only have they picked up, I've listed a couple of them and the one has picked up, but the margin on it is like $150, which is ridiculous. Or the profit on it is like $150, which is ridiculous. I think the margin is like, I don't know what it is, like 40 or 50%. I'd have to check. But that's funny. They seem to be selling, and the profit on it is great, right? You sell one of those, you had a $150 day already. Pretty great. So try to list those. List different chicken coops, rooster coops, pretty much anything with like outdoor small animals. Maybe people are like building them for them now. I'm not really sure. Try it. It's worked for me. Hope that helps and works for you. Garden hoses, pretty self-explanatory. People are going, more outside. They're watering their gardens. Garden hoses, pretty much all variations of garden hoses seem to be selling well for me. Strollers seem to be selling well for me. Again, people are traveling now that, COVID's done with pretty much. People are getting out. Like, for example, people where I'm from, like on the East Coast, go to the shore a lot. They're walking, their kids up and down the boardwalk all the time with strollers. That's a random example. Maybe you're going to like Disney World walking with a stroller, but they seem to be selling a lot better now. So strollers. To piggyback off strollers, which is the next one, number 8, pet strollers. Same kind of concept there. I guess people take their pets to the park, or if you live in a city, you put your pet in a stroller and you just walk it with a pet stroller. They've been selling very, very well for me, and that's also something that's been selling well for me on other platforms as well, not just Facebook Marketplace, okay? This next one is super random, but tennis balls have been selling really well. Maybe it's tennis season, maybe because it's like Wimbledon and there was like or maybe it was like the US Open or something like that. I don't follow tennis, but a lot of tennis on. Maybe it's like tennis season. I don't know much about it, but tennis balls have been flying off the shelves for me lately. Cat food is another one. I listed this. When I listed this, I still remember literally about to list it because this is one that I listed, not my VA. And I was like, I almost didn't list it because I was like, this is never going to sell on Facebook Marketplace. Like, why would somebody go to Facebook Marketplace to buy cat food? I was wrong. Thank God I actually listed it, which is 2 lessons. The first one is list cat food, right? So we're talking Purina, Purina One, Friskies, like all those name brands. They seem to be selling well for me, and people don't seem to do their homework and they just kind of buy it on Facebook Marketplace because it's in front of them and they know that they need it, right? And it's a brand that they trust. The second one is that this is a key lesson that I've, not just with pet food or cat food, but that one that I've learned over and over again. When you're about to list something or you're thinking about listing something and you get that thought in your mind like, this will never sell, why even bother? List it anyway, right? It doesn't cost you anything to list it. And quite often those random things that I thought would be like horrible and would never sell tend to be some of my best items, which is crazy. Maybe because a lot of other people are having that same perception issue and they're not listing it, right? So list it, also list cat food, okay? The next one makes a lot of sense as well. Garage floor coating. I guess that it's nice out now. People are redoing their garages. They're recoating their garages with new finishes. Also, I didn't add this one, but another one that was selling well for me and kind of stopped. Like, I haven't gotten a sale maybe in the past week or so, but was selling all of June. So maybe I need to go back and edit that listing, which I've talked about before. If you have a bunch of listings, edit something small in the listing. It could be just manipulating the price. It could be changing something in the title. It could be moving a picture around. Whatever. Change the listing. If it was selling a lot in the past, it will refresh it essentially in Facebook's eyes. And I've seen that anecdotally in my business, that like if you do this on listings that we're selling, it tends to pick them back up. Also, I know this because Facebook gives me those notifications randomly. It's like X listing has gotten certain amount of views since editing it, right? So they clearly know the algorithm picks that up, and it does tend to help, okay?